we bought our 1969 yacht, it came with a mess of outdated electronics that had been added onto for decades. Navigation is one of the most critical systems on any boat, so Blaine had a plan to rip it all out and rebuild from the ground up. This was especially important since we were set on completing the Great Siberian Sushi Run. Blaine started by removing everything: buttons, wiring, even the massive old radar. Then, step by step, we installed a modern system designed for the way we use the boat. But how much wiring did we have to pull? Did the new radar work? And was it all worth it in the end? This is part 1 of our navigation rebuild.
Let's talk navigation equipment. When we purchased Tangaroa, she had a pretty old suite of electronic equipment on board. Now, we had to get this boat down from Alaska to Victoria, wintertime. It was a little bit tricky. So what we decided to do before we got up to the boat is we purchased Time Zero software and we put it on my little Tough book. This has got a GPS receiver built into it, so it was a very basic chart plotter coming down. The reason why we did that is because there was a whole host of old equipment in here. We had no idea what really worked, very little bit of trust in most of it, and it was obvious something was going to have to be done with it. Now, on the way down from Alaska, we were coming down somewhere in like the beginning of January time, so light was very minimal. We were getting 6 to 8 hours a day kind of thing, depending on the weather. And one of the biggest things that we noticed is, when we push it a little far and be coming in at dark, we were having to use the radar, which didn't function 100%. It was mostly there, but occasionally it would glitch out and do some weird things, so a little bit nerve-wracking. And the MDT, while it was great for plotting our course with GPS, there's no compass in that. So the only way that it gets your heading is by calculating the direction that the boat is moving through the water, rather than actually knowing which way it's pointing. This made it a little challenging once you started to lose visual references of shore, when you couldn't just point the boat at a visual reference. You know, you'd end up wandering around quite a bit because it took time for that to catch up. Even the mechanical compass on board, you know, a little bit difficult to follow that course, especially since it was in kind of an awkward place to really look at it. So yeah, it was... See, it doesn't fit.
Well, how did it get in there?
I'm assuming they lifted the whole thing up and put it in through the side. Which I still got room to lift. Nothing's pulling tight yet.
Am I lifting up and then you pull it out from the side here?
I don't know if that's going to work. Might just have to prop something underneath it. Something bigger than what I already have propped underneath it. I can kind of pull it up here, but it's just not quite high enough.
I think you almost got it.
Okay, ease that down.
Look at that thing.
This is what you call new technology right here.
Oh, it's an old Sony. Oh my gosh, I know what it is.
It's a piece of shit, that's what it is. Can I say that on the air?
I don't know, but... Wow.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
He's so cute, though.
No, it's not.
Was how about duct tape on there?
It would have been cute in the 80s.
What's the duct tape from?
That's to hold it down.
The duct tape was holding it down?
Well, yeah.
Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. Duct tape was holding this whole dash down?
Yes. And while you're in here, you can see all this super nice wiring here. This is all
Oh my gosh.
that's
It's all melted here.
Yeah.
Is that melted or what is that?
Kind of.
What?
I think that's just tape that they've got around it. But when we went to go pick up the boat in Wrangell, that's one of the main reasons why half this shit wasn't working, because of that. That's.
But they're all nicely labeled. Look.
Oh yeah, nicely labeled. So now that we've moved this all around, I'm not sure what's going to work and what's not going to work. But
Are you having fun though?
fortunately, I know somebody who can fix it.
You are a wiring genius.
Well, So occasionally I get tired of doing stuff that's not fun, and I need a little break to do something that I enjoy. Now, this is a project that I've been looking forward to for a while, is cleaning up all of this. And I'm going to start by cleaning up this little panel here, because I think probably most people remember underneath here is pretty gross, and it's got some really ugly wiring in it. So I'm going to see if I can't make that a little tidier in there and get rid of a bunch of the stuff that does not need to be in there. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do here today. Yeah, so we're back in here. As you can see, at one point in time, this was all done pretty nicely. I mean, I'd imagine, you know, all these old connectors were state-of-the-art at some point in time. So anyway, we got a bunch of soldered connections, got a bunch of loose wires hanging down by the steering shaft there, so that's all going to have to get gone. Funny enough, down in there, there's actually a whole big relay panel, which is, I'm a big fan of relays. Pretty much anything powered with any sort of considerable amperage should be relayed. And they did a good job with that. However, some fairly old wiring practices here it's not really up to standard, and quite honestly a bit sketchy. So we're going to see if we can clean that up a little bit. So this is the fun stuff that I get to work with. You know, some of you guys might look at this and say, what a mess, which it is a mess. Why would anybody ever derive any pleasure from working on that? But I actually quite enjoy wiring. So I'll get in here and I'll clean all this stuff up. And, you know, because we've got like melted wires in here. So obviously things have gone south a few times on this boat. So it's, we'll get it all cleaned up, make sure it all works just fine. But what I'll do is I'll split all this wiring off, and then basically I'll redo all the wiring to these relay blocks here, because I mean, quite honestly, they're pretty nicely laid out up here, so I like that part, and that should make life a little easier. But anyway, fun times. So this was my plan. I wanted to have the classic look of Tongaroa with a fairly modern display setup inside the boat. I didn't want a lot of standalone bits and pieces everywhere. I wanted it clean, I wanted it to look good, I wanted it to function well. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So what I decided to do was, you can buy multifunction displays, MFDs for short, from all the different companies. Garmin, you've got Furuno, you've got Raymarine, or the big ones. There's other ones, Humminbird, the list goes on. But I don't know if you've ever priced them out. They are not inexpensive. They've got great functionality, but a lot of the functionality I didn't intend to use. So I was a little hesitant to spend a lot of money. Plus I wanted big displays. I wanted to have, you know, great visual on the displays. I wanted to be able to see everything really well. And to get something in the big range, say for example, a Furuno MFD and a 22-inch monitor, they're like 10 grand US for just a single monitor. And that was just not going to happen. I don't have that kind of a budget, and but I still wanted something similar to that. I chose TimeZero software. That's what we put onto the MDT when we came down from Alaska. It worked very well on the trip down from Alaska. The charts are fantastic. Really loved it. And a beauty with that is TimeZero integrates in with most all of the new Furuno equipment. So rather than buying a Furuno MFD, I could get TimeZero, install it on a fairly inexpensive PC, and it would control all of my Furuno equipment, which I didn't have yet. So I decided to go with that, and then I started to make a list of items that I was going to need. Now, as I said, radar was already acting up a little bit, so that was definitely on the list. And then the next one was some sort of a decent compass. Not being able to follow once we lost visual reference, that was a little bit annoying on the way down from Alaska. So another big thing was some sort of a good compass setup. So I went on the hunt for equipment.
So what is it? Oh my gosh. What are you doing?
I'm fixing the wiring underneath the...
We have the bilge ripped apart. We have our master stateroom ripped apart. We have the captain's cabin ripped apart.
Sometimes you just have to do something that you enjoy, and I've been looking forward to this.
We've got everything ripped apart except the main salon. Used to be except...
They're going back together again.
So what you doing?
I'm fixing all the switch lighting.
Whoa. Check out that chain. You gotta clean in there too and oil it and grease it up.
That's pretty greased as it is.
Yeah, but it looks gummy. Hey, it goes way down there.
It does. It goes down to there, and then it loops over and goes over there, and there's a big long shaft that goes back there, and there's another chain back there, and there's another big long shaft over there. Yeah.
Look at all the wires.
Yeah, that's what I'm fixing. So it's all this stuff that we were talking about before.
Yeah, oh yeah, everything that's melted.
And I've got good news. These switches
Yes.
are still available.
Get out.
You can still get them.
Where?
DigiKey.
I thought we'd have to...
It's actually a Honeywell switch.
Should get new ones and get them renamed.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
I do like the meal light one. What we?
How about the
But what's the meal light?
absent light?
Why would you want to tell people you're not on your boat?
Yeah.
What about meal light though? When did we press that?
I don't know. When there's a meal, I suppose.
What if it's a light that goes off in everybody's rooms? It's meal time. Ding 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 ding.
Anyway, I'm just cleaning up that mess too, because they've got... See, this is why solder is a bad idea, because solder cracks and breaks. So this stuff was soldered together at some point, and it's cracked loose.
So what do you use instead of solder?
Well, some of this you have to solder. Ideally, you want to use physical terminals, like a screw-down type terminal or a ring terminal. Ring terminal is most secure, because even if it comes loose, it doesn't slide out. Fork terminals are okay.
Fork terminals?
Fork.
Fork.
These, I don't know if they make a socket for these instead of these, so these might actually have to be soldered here, but this is the thing that you don't really want, is a big hard wire across there with diodes on it.
It looks like fun.
Yeah, it's kind of neat figuring out how they designed it and how it's supposed to work.
Oh, have fun. Okay, so what?
So they I was
You were
wondering
wondering.
what these big black boxes were back in here.
How many of them are there?
There's 4 of
Look
them.
at them.
Yeah, there's 4 big, and they're fairly big too. Like you can see the size of my hand. They're big, wide modules in there.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what they were. They're the dimming modules for the dash lighting. So the dash lighting requires modules that big times 4.
Are you getting rid of those?
Yes. Yes, I will be.
Oh, the advancement in technology since 1969.
Yeah. So anyway, it's there's some cleanup. See, because this is another problem here. You can see, flip around.
Yeah.
So there's more of that like bar with soldered resistors on it here, and those that's actually broken in a couple of spots as well. Like right there, you can see it's separated.
Yep.
So that makes things not work.
Aw, something on this boat not working?
Yes.
Highly unusual.
Yeah. So funny story, when we went to go look at the boat for the sea trials up in Alaska, I got to the boat and not much was working. And I remember the mechanic coming on board that was helping with the sea trial, because the owners weren't there or anything. And he's like, so I just want to let you know there's a bunch of stuff on the dash that doesn't work. And I said, well, actually, I was here last night and I fixed all of that. He goes, oh, okay. So, yeah.
You rewired it all? It wasn't even our boat?
It wasn't even our boat yet, and I fixed all well, I didn't fix it. I repaired some stuff and made it work for the sea trial.
Blaine looks really guilty, and he's making lots of noises. What are you doing? What are you doing? No, Blaine! What are you doing? What? What the hell's that?
That's the old radar.
But were you supposed to take the whole thing out?
Well, I have to for the new radar. I wasn't going to do it just yet, but it was in the way.
It was in the way, so you decided just to rip it apart.
I did.
Is that what you were hiding? You didn't want me to know exactly what you were doing? We said that we would stop ripping things apart and we would start building things again.
Well, yeah, but I gotta rip some apart to build it. I gotta get the new radar in.
This is more fun for you to do, isn't it, than clean the bilge?
Yes. The bilge is mostly clean anyway.
Yeah, but we haven't cleaned up around it.
No. I did that all day yesterday. I needed a break.
This is Blaine's definition of a break.
Somebody's done bad things in there. Bad things.
And now you're fixing all the bad things.
Now, some of you may have noticed that I'm a bit thrifty when it comes to purchasing things for the boat. And I really like to get as much as I can for my money. Now, I eBay shop. And the beauty of a project like this, where it's spanning a long time, is I can wait until I find deals and pick parts up as I go. And one of the great things about marine electronics I've found is there's a lot of guys down in, say, Florida that drive really expensive boats, go out sport fishing all the time, and are regularly upgrading their electronics because they always want the latest and greatest. So what I found is there is always a host of electronic gear on eBay from pullouts on boats that guys will resell. There's marine electronic suppliers down there that will surplus this stuff out, whatever you want to call it, for pennies on the dollar. So I sat down with my computer and I started shopping. One of the first things that I found, it was on eBay, sold by a company called Max Marine Electronics. Love those guys. They always have good stuff on there and good prices. Quick shipping and always there to help. So what I found was a Furuno radar. It was a DRS-12A. And the beauty with this radar, and all of the new Furuno radars for that matter, is they're network-based radars. So our old radar, which filled up this spot here, it was about that wide, about that tall, and sat about that deep into this locker here. So it took up a huge amount of footprint. It had a bundle of cables probably that big around that went up to the radar. Dozens of little tiny wires mixed up in this little cable. The new radar has one power cable with a positive and negative, and one network cable, which is like what you plug into your computer. So a little RJ45 jack, click, run down through, plug it in, you're done. Well, we picked a nice sunny day to remove the old radar from the boat. So just up here up top, basically started pulling the guts out of the radar, which is actually quite easy on this specific unit, so I can get the wires out. One common thing that you see a lot in used marine electronics is cut cables. Guys are in a hurry, they don't feel like taking the time to properly disconnect everything and pull it through that way. They just want it quick and dirty and easy. So if you find used electronics on eBay or whatnot, typically they'll just take a pair of side cutters or big cable cutter and they'll just cut right through that cable underneath the radar, basically like under there, which is great for getting it out, but unfortunately really sucks for the guy who buys it and has to put it back in again. So we're doing it the right way here. I'm actually going through and disconnecting everything and properly removing it. So when we go to sell this, if somebody wants to buy it, they won't have a massive headache to reinstall it on whatever they're going to put it on. Not that I'm holding my breath on getting rid of a 32 volt radar these days, but anyway, it worked great. So we're going to try to sell it anyway.
I didn't realize you were taking the spinny thing off now. Yeah. You just were anxious? Holy cow. I was like, what is so loud?
This is so loud.
So what are you doing? Let me crawl up here. Oh,
What I gotta do
oh no, I'm falling.
I've had to remove the main electro box just so I could get to the cable gland to get the cables loose out of here, and then I gotta pull all the cables back through.
Cable gland? What's that?
That's what compresses.
Oh,
and
check
seals
that
the
out.
cables.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna try to get that out of there. It's been in there for quite some time, so it's a little bit tight and corroded in there, but I'm hoping I can
Okay, it is a nice
get
sunny day out.
get all the sand.
What is it? Oh, from when they sandblast?
Yeah, that was all up underneath the radar. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I'm doing, and then I can get this radar and the big monitor off the boat, and we can start prepping for the new one.
Fun.
Because I don't think the new one's going to sit here and clear here. I think it's a little shorter, so I might have to take this off and make a little platform to set it on. There it is. Now that I got that rubber off, I can slide it up over the whole works. Like that.
And that's the wire gland or whatever you called it?
Yeah, that's the cable gland. That's the
Cable gland, wire gland.
That's the part that
Look
goes,
at them all.
Oh yeah. That's what connects on the front side of this. So
This doesn't scare you at all.
Nope. Nope. I was actually telling people before, usually people will cut this whole group of wiring, which is great if you're just trying to remove it off the boat. However, it's a nightmare for the next person if this, if we were to sell this and somebody would go to reinstall this anywhere and all the wires are cut, because you have so many wires that are the same color.
Oh yeah.
You can't, there's no way you'd ever be able to
Figure out what goes
figure out what goes where. So this way I still got my two pieces there, which screws in here.
Oh my.
So that's the two separate ones, and I took a picture of it before I took it off. So whoever purchases it,
Are we selling it?
Well, it's still a good radar, so I don't see why not. But now I can pull this whole works through here, and then that can go back down through there, and it's all ready to remove.
Let me go pull.
Sure.
Guessing this is the other end of it. He's already pulled this big wire down. What do you want me to do?
So you're going to be pulling down on this cable.
Okay.
It might get tough because there was a little blob of like 5200 on there that I cut most of it off, but it's still a little bit
Pretty
there.
sure I weigh more than you, so I'll just use my body weight. Don't answer that.
Try.
Don't
It might
answer
not
that.
be that easy still. But yeah, we'll just give it a little tug down and see if it comes through. You might have to slow down once you get past the cable because we got to get all the little connectors through as well.
Slow down on the tugging.
Slow down on the tugging.
Slow tugging.
You can speed up a little bit after we get the stuff through just to get it to...
So slow tug at the beginning and then faster at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Once it comes through.
And then can we have a beer?
Yes, then we can have a beer.
Oh, here we go. There's just so much stuff on the floor. Go? You're right, I'm gonna need two hands. I think I gotta put down the camera. Sorry, guys. I couldn't do it. Hold on, I gotta get him a razor knife. Yeah, hold on. Okay. Got him a razor knife. And I gotta pull this. You're gonna look right at my nostrils. He's trying to get the silicone off. I couldn't pull through with the silicone. It was really tough, so he's dealing with that. And then I will try pulling this a little bit more. Just tell me when. Okay. What?
I said no.
Too much?
No, I'm trying to shave off some more of this.
Oh.
I'm ready to start.
Oh, I thought you did. Sorry. I thought you said go. Oops, don't tell him. Now, you sure? Ah! That's all I got. What?
Let me go back up.
Okay. This is tough. Ah! Ah! You see all the stuff that just fell on me. Luckily I looked down fast. Am I still pulling? It's raining dirt.
One of the things that I had to tackle when we got the new radar in was the actual antenna unit is not a standard voltage. They would normally come with a power supply. I didn't have that. It didn't come with the radar. So what I ended up doing was picking up a lab grade power supply, not from Furuno, and I'm using that to convert the power from what we have on board to what the antenna needs. What we've done is this is a power supply, which is actually a higher capacity than what the Furuno ones are. Stainless, or actually aluminum casing, lab grade power supply, $130. So pretty big difference between the standard Furuno one. So what I'll have to do is put a relay in to turn this on when we have the radar and the navionics or the navigation instruments on. Oh boy.
What?
There's just having to be a lot of crap on the half deck.
Well, yeah, there is. Any grease on you? Because you hate grease.
Just there, from those stupid chairs earlier.
Okay.
Hey, look everybody, we put a radar on the tender. Might be a little bit big for that particular tender.
I think we'll be able to find our way now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that swing's gonna work out on the radar though.
You just gotta do the limbo, or what's it called? Limbo?
Limbo, yeah.
You do the limbo every time it comes around.
That could be.
Limbo.
I don't think the
limbo.
center console can do a limbo though.
Pardon?
I don't think the center console can do a limbo though.
Might be. Blaine needed a new project today. He's getting tired of working on the generator.
I was just goofing around.
Well, what did you do?
So we bought a used DRS-12A Furuno radar.
And for those who remember way back when, the spinny thing.
spinny
We
thing.
got a new spinny thing.
So I finally actually connected it to time 0 to test it. Et voila.
You can hear it upstairs.
You can. This is not permanently attached, but this is just a quick test to make sure that the radar functions.
That looks awesome.
And the radar definitely functions. And it's very sharp targets compared to our old radar.
Oh, look at that. What's the beeping?
That's my multimeter.
Oh, okay. Well, let me see if I can go upstairs and see it. What a beautiful night. Oh, wow. That's awesome, Blaine.
Yeah.
Great job.
Always glad when you buy used stuff and it functions.
That is a good thing. What a stunning night out.
I briefly touched on the wiring on the radar, but inside of this locker was a jumble. There were so many cables from everything. The radar, the autopilot had an absurd amount of cabling going to it. We had all of the standard old school Loran GPS. We had depth sounder speed logs that sat up in here that had their own wires that didn't work anyway. We had a depth sounder up on the corner up here that did work. So it's just this massive wire from old electronics that was not exactly super well organized, and it all had to go.
Really tired. It's been a long day, but Blaine really wants to show me. I'm like, is it cool? He's like, well, it's cool to me. Maybe not for you, but I really want to show you. What's cool?
Oh, I said it's not that cool, but I like it.
What?
So it's far from done.
No shite, Sherlock.
But it's a lot better. You probably don't even notice the difference, do you?
No, it's very cleaned out. You're missing a lot of wires.
Yes.
And you
That's
can
the
see
big
the
thing.
bottom.
Yeah.
And you vacuumed everything. And there's a hole.
Yeah.
See the hole?
Fortunately,
There's a hole.
that is not a hole from the outside of the boat to the inside of the boat. That is a hole from the inside of the boat to the inside of the boat.
Well, how did we get a hole from the inside of the boat to the inside of the boat?
Well, someone in their ultimate wisdom put 2 locker doors on either side that are not sealed. And then they built a boat that pulls a vacuum when you have the engines running. So salt water gets sucked in, goes right onto the floor, comes right under the edge of this wall, And then somebody else in their ultimate wisdom took the ground strap for the single sideband radio and ran the copper ground strap screwed to the aluminum floor in a saltwater damp location. Ta-da!
Aluminum don't like that.
This is, the aluminum basically turns into this.
Hey, that's not goo. That's like crystal.
No, that's been there for a while.
Okay, that's crystallized goo.
Yeah. So that was once aluminum. And this is what the ground strap looks like that was screwed into it. You can actually still see the screw screwed through the copper into the aluminum and the whole chunk of aluminum that disintegrated around it.
Is it because two different metals?
Yes, copper and aluminum, very, very bad. Well, still got a little bit to go, but slowly getting less wiry in here. It's, like I said, still got a few things to clean up, but compared to before, it's a pretty big difference. And that concludes most of the install of the radar setup. In part number 2, we're going to go over the rest of the install with the monitors, the PC, the depth sounder, most importantly, the satellite compass, because I love that thing. And we're going to go into the AIS and the VHF. Stick around, stay tuned, check it out.
We removed all the old electronics, but that's not all. We also stripped every layer of paint from our hull. Watch, we removed all the paint from the bottom of our 78-foot aluminum yacht to see what we uncovered.